on the Toyota of Hollywood guest line. Shop over 1,500 Toyotas indoors in one of America's largest showrooms at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan. What's going on, Seth? How are you, man?
I'm doing great. How about you guys?
Good.
It's good, man. It's good to talk to you. Rolling right now, man. 3 in a row.
Yeah.
That performance last week.
I thought you meant 3 in a row. Tyreek, Sealer, and me. I thought
I did. Well, yeah. It's everything. All great things come in 3 sets. Listen, that's how it rolls, man.
I don't know who booked this one, but you're stuck with me at this point.
We love it, man. We love every time that you join us. But yes, 3 in a row.
Yeah.
They're killing it right now. Like this season, I think we all were expecting good things, that this was going to be a team that was talented, but like at what level is it, like exceeding your expectations right now? Is it at expectations? What has been your take back? We're halfway through the year now. We got one more game before the bye week. Just overall, like how much are you enjoying this?
Well, I'm definitely enjoying it. I mean, how could you not? Whether you're a fan, if you're a fan of the Dolphins, you're certainly enjoying it. And if you're just a fan of football, I think there's some exciting things to see. And especially if you like offensive football, because they are putting up numbers that this team hasn't put up in forever. I just saw, I guess NFL Live ran this stat or what have you, and it showed that Tua has, I think, 3 games this year of 300 yards or more passing, 3 touchdowns, a 70% or higher completion percentage. And Dan Marino had that many as well in 1984. Like, that's pretty wild to see the company that he's in with some of these statistics. And shout out to everybody who's finding all these crazy numbers. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Losing 3 in a row wasn't, and just everything that was going on with the quarterback situation. But when they have had, they've never had all of their pieces because of what's going on defense, but certainly offensively, to see them firing on all cylinders, it's been a lot of fun. Is it exceeding expectations? I think it is. I mean, I hoped, thought, expected Tua to take a step forward in his progression. I didn't think that he would be leading the league in 5, 6, 7 critical passing categories. It's been cool.
He's been a monster.
I think we all thought that the team would be better based on what they had done the last couple of years, but we didn't know how much of an impact Mike McDaniel would make with the new offense and what have you. I'm curious to know, are we seeing the defense go this route because, or, they have their struggles at times because of health, because of, the new coaching and what he wants to do, or just because, like, they haven't really been forced in a whole lot of situations where they had to come up with a big stop. So, they're just trying not to give up the very big plays.
Yeah, I don't know that there's an easy answer to that, Leroy. I mean, it's a great question, and I think that they're probably trying to figure out some of it as well. You have to, you never want to blame health because everybody deals with injuries, but you can't, if you're analyzing and trying to understand what's different, you cannot ignore the fact that we talked about last week that, you haven't had Byron Jones all year. You don't have Brandon Jones now. You lost Nick Needham early. I mean, those are 3 of the 5 guys that made up that secondary that was ferocious. And so, X has been playing with the groin injury and he's been playing through it. Obviously missed a game, but I think you're getting the best that he can give you. I'm sure he can't wait as a guy at this stage of his career. He can't wait for the bye week. Fortunately, Kader Kohu has stepped up and played really well. But I don't think you could ignore the fact that they've had to change what they probably planned to do in the secondary. The Bears game was interesting because, look, you cannot take away that performance by Justin Fields. But at the same time, I really think that when you're evaluating how the Dolphins defense played, this was really just an example of an extremely talented player who is coming into his own and figuring out where he fits in this league, having a spectacular day. I mean, that was, the ultimate team sport, but Justin Fields damn near won that game by himself for the Bears. And nobody ever does it completely by themselves because of the way the game's built. But that guy did things that are just, they were an anomaly in a lot of ways. And I don't think they're going to see too many more performances like that in the rest of the way. So they did get good pressure. He just escaped it. They did, that 61-yard touchdown. I don't think they could have played it any better until they could have, right? Until he just, a great player made a great play. So it'll be interesting to see how they improve. It'll be interesting to see as Chubb gets more reps, if his impact starts to be felt even more, and hopefully they can hold it together in the secondary.
Worst position on the football field, spy. Because I think you're wasting the defender.
Interesting.
You're making here's what you're doing, Seth. You're saying that the guy playing quarterback is so athletic that we're gonna put a guy on just to monitor what he's doing.
Right.
But if you're doing that in the first place, you're saying that your guy is just as athletic as him.
Well,
and that's not why he got there, right?
That's a good point. Especially, I thought we saw Tyndall play some spy early, and he made a great play, and then he didn't. That is an interesting point all the way around, because typically when you line up the quarterback can hurt you with his arm, but the quarterback, when you start saying matchups and what have you, you don't account for having somebody that's one player specifically on the quarterback. Again, unique situation. Having said that, they weren't really, they didn't hurt the Dolphins. There were a couple pass interference plays, but their receiving core wasn't just dominating the Dolphins secondary. They've got some really tough physical running backs, and you saw some of that. But I think that, they controlled that, relatively speaking. They maybe could have used 2 spies on Fields. I don't know. He was just playing at a different level.
It's almost one of those situations where rushing the passer became more of a hindrance because you weren't never really getting there, but you were creating lanes. So it's kind of one of those things where when you play against a quarterback like, say, Tom Brady, who gets rid of the ball quick, they just say count to 2 and then swat the ball.
Yeah.
Well, you almost have to kind of corral and not really rush, but kind of peek around to see where the quarterback is and dare him to beat you with his arm.
Right. And how hard, I can't imagine how hard that is, right? Because you're getting there, you beat your guy, which that in and of itself is a challenge. And then you think you got a chance at him, and then he's gone. And so, staying disciplined like that, it's got to be tough. We heard Coach McDaniel in the postgame say that they had a plan that they were trying to execute, and clearly they didn't do it enough.
He was just better.
In the fourth quarter, he was better. He was better for 3.5 quarters.
Right.
In the fourth quarter, they made enough plays at the end to hold on. And thankfully for them, and for all of us who root for the Miami Dolphins, the offense was everything you had hoped it would be. Mm-hmm. And you got points on special teams.
We're talking to Seth Levit. He is the co-host of the Fish Tank podcast with OJ McDuffie, which drops every single week. You also hear him on the post-game show with OJ and Travis Wingfield. They do a great job wrapping up every Dolphins game for us here on your flagship for Miami Dolphins football, 560 WQAM. All right, Seth, we were talking about this yesterday. The season that Tyreek Hill is having, it's incredible, obviously. Do you think that it has been incredible enough to put him in the MVP conversation? And if there is an MVP conversation for the Dolphins, is there any way the wide receiver could outshine the quarterback? Because they are undefeated with Tua. So you naturally would think it would go to Tua. But I feel like Tyreek has been so good, and he's doing things that haven't been done in NFL history. Has he done enough that if there was a talk for a Dolphin to get an MVP, that Tyreek Hill should be in that conversation?
It is such a great argument. I think, Leroy knows typically those things are always going to lean towards the quarterback, right? I mean, they get more credit than they deserve and more blame that they deserve, and then sometimes they get everything that they deserve. But it is really kind of which came first, the chicken or the egg. There's no question that Tua rising to the occasion has a lot to do with Tyreek Hill there. But then you look at Tyreek Hill's numbers, and they're better than he's ever had in Kansas City through 9 games.
And I don't want to take this as a shot at Tua.
I don't think.
Good players. Guess what? Good players need good players. That's how it works. We're seeing that even with the great quarterbacks that lost their great receivers, except for Mahomes. But everybody else is basically falling off of a cliff with their big losses.
Well, Mahomes still has Kelsey, so don't forget that.
But I'm just saying, Tyreek having a season that we've never seen before.
No, you've never seen it.
Is this the rare case where he may be able to outshine all the QBs and get himself in that conversation?
I think there's a legitimate argument for it. I think you absolutely can make the argument that his production on the field is historic right now, and you cannot ignore that. And B, his presence on and off the field has helped elevate the other guy to being in the MVP conversation as well. So I think that would be my argument if you were arguing the case for Tyreek Hill, and it's a legitimate argument. If you
Here's
on
my
the flip,
counterpoint.
that's your point, you said, Leroy?
No, my counterpoint.
Oh, okay.
The team is undefeated with Tua, but
Right.
not without him.
And that would be the argument for Tua, right? It's almost some people are saying if Tua had played every game, he would be in the MVP conversation. And then some other people are saying, well, wait a second. The fact that he missed 3 games and they lost all 3 of them, or 2.5 games, and they lost all 3 of them, that actually should be the reason why you say that he's most valuable.
Yeah, I think right now, I think odds wise, I think Tua is 6th, and I think Tyreek's 10th. So it's not. I mean, that's to have 2 guys in the top 10 of odds. Absolutely.
Exactly right.
Absolutely.
That means you're doing something right. If you've got 2 guys in the conversation, in the Bills, and we'll see what happens here with Allen and the elbow there. But I imagine Diggs and, they're probably having some of those similar conversations, right? Although what Tyreek Hill is doing, again, it's historic. And I just, he put himself on the line and everybody else, and he got here and he's like, look, this is the most accurate quarterback. I love Pat Mahomes. He's as good as it gets, but I'd rather have the guy who can get me the ball in stride and all. And everyone kind of laughed at him and just said that he was just trying to talk up a good game. And it's all coming to fruition, and you just can't ignore it. And I also don't limit it to Tua. I feel like Tyreek's confidence and his performance in practice, from what we hear, and how it carries over to the game, and his entire approach has been infectious for certainly the entire offense and perhaps the entire team. So the argument truly could be made for either guy, and I guess that's me not giving you a good answer.
It's a hard one, man.
We've been doing it all show, and like, is it the wins or the numbers? Because I got to tell you, every time a running back runs for 2,000 yards, he immediately goes into that category or that status of MVP. However, this is something that has never been done. Right. No receiver has ever been this far along during the course of the season.
Yep.
Now, if he gets 2,000 yards and does it before the last game of the season, which means he does it in 16 games.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then he has to go to the top simply because we're witnessing history.
Yeah, it's not like it's not apples for apples because it's different levels, but it's a little bit like Devontae Smith, his Heisman year, where it was just like he was so dominant, so clearing away.
Right.
And a lot of that had to do with Waddle being hurt too. And his numbers were out of this world. And I think it also a little bit that people didn't think Mac Jones was really good. I think people are kind of coming around on Tua being good, which could probably take votes away from a Tyreek Hill argument. But
right.
I don't know, man. I'm just blown away. As much as I was expecting a lot from him, I continue to be shocked by him every week.
I'm with you. I can't say I watched a bunch of Kansas City Chiefs football prior, to Tyreek getting here. So you see the highlights. I say the Dominique Wilkins of football, the human highlight reel. We watch the highlights, all the time, see him on Twitter, see him on television. You knew that he was talented and he was fast, but it has been so impressive to watch. I happen to watch it with, every week with a guy who played the position, right? And so OJ marvels at it. He said he sits up there and talks to Dupe or Clayton. And then, Duper had a really interesting comment that he said he kind of is the combination of Duper and Clayton together, that he has that flat out speed that Duper had, but he has the athleticism and the craftiness and the route running that Tyreek had. I mean, that Clayton had. He's really a unique player, and it's great to have him in aqua and orange.
Seth, the thing that makes him so unique is not all the things that you've said, but his ability to be full speed running a route and stop.
Yeah.
And the fact that he can stop running faster than anybody on the field and stop on a dime, that has to hurt defenders more than any other.
Almost unguardable.
Right. It is.
Yeah.
It is. Where do you guard him? Because what if he runs a back shoulder pass and he can stop quicker than you? It's undefensible.
It's crazy, man.
That's a fair point. And again, Tua's numbers are stupid also. That third down, his third down numbers are the best in, since they've been keeping the stat. So it's really incredible. They both owe a lot to each other, and you can't ignore Mike McDaniel, who's scheming it all
Definitely
up as
not.
well. In fact, we had, and here's me stealing a radio segue here, but Sage Rosenfels, who's our current guest in the podcast, and Sage played after he left Miami. He went to Houston, and when he was at Houston, Kyle Shanahan was there, Mike McDaniel was there, that whole regime that now are all head coaches. they were there. And he talked about he had never been around in his entire football life. He had never been around such creativity offensively and seen a scheme that could get the best player on the field, who everybody knew they had to guard, not just open, but wide open. He's like, how is Andre Johnson running with nobody around him 10 yards? Nobody's even close to him. How's that even possible? Because everybody knows when they line up, they have to find Andre Johnson. And so we're seeing the same thing here with Tyreek Hill. So I think, it's that three-headed monster of Coach McDaniel, Tyreek Hill, and Tua. And then you also have a guy like Waddle there. So there's a lot of things to be excited about as a Miami Dolphins fan.
Go check out the Fish Tank podcast. Sage Rosenfeld's on the latest episode. Top-notch Waddle by you boys this weekend, by the way. Loved it. Loved the video.
So I got it. You know what? A couple fans were ranking it, and some people put me at the bottom, and I took some offense to that because I love Travis Wingfield. Nobody breaks down film like he does, but damn it, he can't waddle to save his life.
Well, we hope there's plenty more coming up, man, and it's always fun talking with you every week, and hopefully they keep this rolling going and to take on the Browns this week.
No doubt. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, Cleveland, and Leroy's going to be there, I heard.
Yes.
Yeah, he's going to be there.
Yes.
He doesn't want to say what he believes, which is
we won't ask him. I won't put you in the hot seat like I get put in every time.
This he won't.
Oh, I am.
He's definitely going to.
Oh, got it. Well, you got to spend a lot more time with him than you do me. But I will see you guys on Saturday. I think I'm coming down, or Friday night at Tyreek Hill event. I was thrilled to see that you guys are going to be emceeing it, and I hope they raise a lot of money. It seems like he's doing some great work there. And, putting my other hat on, the Jason Taylor Foundation, I'm going to try and check out. We got Raheem Mostert doing something, and then Tyreek's doing something. I'm going to try to get to both. And it's really cool to see that these guys are not just great players on the field, but doing really great stuff in our community.
Seth, we appreciate the time, man. We'll do it again next week.
Thanks, Seth.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.